All right, Leo. So there's some things I want to take you through here. This is not everything that's going on during the month of November. November has 30 different aspects happening. There's retrogrades happening. There's all kinds of things happening. But I want to point out the biggest ones to you that I think are going to make the most impact. Okay. So we do have Uranus going retrograde, backing up into Taurus, which is your 10th house of career and reputation. So there could be a sudden awareness or a sudden kind of tying up of loose ends. We also have a full moon as it relates to your career or your reputation. So your life could be changing. How people see you could be changing. What that means is entirely your own personal story. But there's also a full moon in Taurus. And that full moon in Taurus says, let it go. Let go of a lesson or a situation because you're changing right now. You've got to let go of maybe a story that you have in your head about what is supposed to happen or what's supposed to be. I'm focusing on Pluto transiting your 7th house of Aquarius, of relationships, and how uniquely different that is going to be over the next 20 years, how much that is going to change your idea of it or what you expect of it or who you are in relationships is going to change radically. We've got Saturn and Neptune back in Pisces, 8th house of death and transformation. So a lot more change, a lot more eroding of the lessons or the structures, like what you really thought relationships were or what you really thought your career path was, because 10th house is career path too, is going to change. That Saturn and Neptune is going to move into the 9th house early next year, February 20th. They're going to be exactly conjunct at 0 degrees. That 9th house in Aries is about, Aries is my identity. And what are the belief systems I'm basing that identity on? I believe that everybody's like me. Everybody should be a certain way. Everybody should be seeing me a certain way. And I spent a lot of my life trying to make that happen, make that real, that you all need to see me a certain way. Uranus backing up into Taurus, and that full moon in Taurus says that there's a release of an old story. Taurus is about what made you comfortable or what made you feel safe and secure. You're now empowering yourself, because up until now, everything has been about external people, not you. Not you, Leo. And Leo in the 1st house is very attractive and very beautiful and a lot of people may think you don't have too much going on upstairs. And that ain't true. A lot of people may, paint you with a stereotypical brush about certain things. And that ain't true. Because if you're understanding that Pluto transiting through Aquarius, maybe the marriage you chose it's not the marriage itself. It's what happens to the story of who you think you are because of this. This person's a teacher. So the marriage itself may not have worked at all. Or it may just have been like, I don't know, like it doesn't seem like it's moving me forward in my life at all. It may have just made me comfortable. And that's not what's being asked of you now. What's being asked of you now is to release anything that is a stagnant idea of who you are and step into a transitory, I don't like those words, a transformational death and rebirth process. I feel like you're reinventing yourself. This is all happening because past life. This person in your life, we have Jupiter in Cancer in the 12th house. Do you have planets in the 12th house? Because they're being activated in terms of your presentation to the world. 10th house, the 7th house, who you partner with, This may not be a romantic relationship. This could be a transformation as to who you are in your career. You may need to step into some kind of leadership role as it relates to your business partnerships, stepping into it more. And the 11th house, when Uranus is going to be in that 10th house, let's see, Uranus is going to be there until next March. Okay. March or April. And then it's going to move back into Gemini in the 11th house. And Gemini is a social butterfly. Gemini is going to attract a bunch of new people in, new social circles. Maybe you're giving up a whole bunch of social circles because this is going away. This marriage or this partnership is going away. So when Uranus steps back into Gemini, go back and look at the summer of 2025. Uranus moved into Gemini on July 7th. So what has happened from July 7th until about September? So it's only a 2-month period. If you keep a journal, bonus points for you, because you can go back and look at what was going on for you. I feel like there is some transformational, and we also had Neptune and Saturn in that 9th house of belief systems. What did you transform in terms of your belief systems? It's now like retrograding back into the houses of death and transformation, the houses of career path. And it's going to push you to make some choices and changes. A new story is being birthed about who you are and who you express yourself to be in the world. We also have Mercury retrograde most of the month of November. Mars and Mercury in that 5th house of romance, that 5th house of creative expression. It's in Sagittarius. You might have had this idea of like, oh, well, I'll just go to a new partner. I'll just go to a new, I'll get remarried. Who cares if this doesn't work? I'll get remarried. I'm going to say to you that I don't think that's it. I feel like when Mercury goes retrograde, Mercury is going to go back into that 4th house of Scorpio. I feel like you're completely moving on from this old way of doing the world. 4th house in Scorpio. Wow. Death and change and transformation in terms of your own private life, where you live. So that could be happening. Okay. So there's a lot of change going on here. A lot of change happening for you. So let's see where we're going here, Leo. I want to completely pull a new reading. I don't usually do this in the extended, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to pull a completely new reading for you based on what I just said to you. Grounded. Does grounded, when you hear that, do you mean like you're grounded, meaning a punishment? Or I'm very grounded because of this? It's not a punishment, right? It's a transformation. Safe travel. The boundary card and focus. So that's Sagittarian. There's something here because Mars in Sagittarius is about being optimistic about the future. And it is about taking action in that direction. I feel like some of you may just shit can your whole life and move on to a new place or a new job, a new career path. There's big transformation happening for you over the next 6 months, November, December, January, February, March, even into April. Okay. So by the time we get into the spring of next year, you are going to be seeing yourself as completely different and unique and letting your uniqueness shine. Pluto transiting that 7th house of Aquarius, letting your uniqueness shine. 9 of Swords underneath, the 3 of Wands, the 7 of Pentacles, the Cancerian energy, the 2 of Cups, and the Page of Swords. So now I feel like some of you have hung on to an old life, and now you're recognizing that it's time to invest in something new. Could be with a Cancerian. High Priestess, Page of Wands. You're going to need to trust your intuition more. You're going to need to learn some new things. 3 of Swords. You're going to need to heal from this. Moon. We have a new moon in Scorpio later in the month that may assist. All right. A new moon in Scorpio. That is going to be in the 4th house. Leo, Scorpio. So you're going to be squaring that. Whatever you have in Leo is going to be squaring this 4th house. And 4th house is ruled by the moon. You have Scorpio there, which is ruled by Pluto, and to a lesser degree, Mars. There's something here about needing to change that. The 6 of Wands, victory. I love it. Ooh, Ace of Pentacles, new opportunities. 9 of Pentacles, Tower. 5 of Cups, the Lover's card. The outcome is the Hierophant. 8 of Swords, King of Wands, that 10 of Swords, that 10 of Wands. Okay, so you're definitely, I feel like you're worried about something ending, and it is ending. You're not wrong about this, okay? This Tower and this 5 of Cups, that is the immediate future. I feel like in the past, you've had a lot of safety and security, especially around career. And I feel like you're going to have to take some bold action about your career in order to build this new life. You are going to be offered something new. Ace of Pentacles. I love that. The 3 of Swords says you're going to need to process this maybe faster than you want to. This is an opportunity. All right. Faster than you want to. Outcome is, this is a Lover's card. So there is hopes and fears is about what are my choices, right? And this outcome says, the Hierophant says, where that's Taurus. So that 10th house of Taurus, it's like your career path is going to be the thing that is the most safe and secure. I wouldn't lean toward another relationship. If you're wanting to create safety and security for you, the way forward is your career, not your home and family and security in that way. Okay. And that might be a complete change from what it has been up until now. All right. So what are the blocks you need to pay attention to? What are the blocks? Hermit. 2 of Swords, blocking wisdom around relationships. There's a blind spot here. Emperor and the Hanged Man, needing to look at this could come from father energy. You've got a blind spot as it relates to what relationships mean in your life. You've got a real blind spot here, and it's coming from father energy. Anything more? Well, let's see. Hanged Man, strength, courage. King of Swords. That's, oh boy, Page of Cups. I feel like you are needing to be a little more tough as nails, because that strength card is your card, Leo. You're going to need to be a little more tough as nails about things, not so easily won back. And also you need to learn the lessons of this relationship. Sorry, the sun keeps coming in and out. You need to learn the lesson of this relationship or of this situation. You absolutely do. Okay, I'm going to shift my deck here. So what don't you see coming, please? 10 of Wands. Knight of Pentacles. Tower. Again, the Tower has been a lot in these readings, all of these readings. Magician. I feel like you don't think you can do this alone. You might have a story that comes from Father that says you need me to be a legitimate person in the world. You need a spouse. That has come from Father energy. That whatever so for example, that Father energy, I'm just going to make this up, but if there was a story while you were growing up that your mother wanted to leave the relationship, you learned and your father stayed or something like that because your mother needed him for whatever reason. We're talking about the 70s and 80s, I think. That's still, women needed their spouse to get credit cards, to get bank accounts. There was a real need for that. I think you internalized that to be a grown up, you need to be married. And Aquarius in that seventh house says, no, you're moving in new circles now. You're moving into a new paradigm that hasn't existed and that definitely didn't exist when you were growing up. So you're going to have to upend that old paradigm. Okay. So what don't you see coming? Temperance, Sagittarian energy, 6 of Cups, 7 of Wands, 9 of Swords, 2 of Cups, one more please, and the 10 of Cups. So something that I feel like there's something that Archangel Michael is protecting you from. I also feel like there could be something a Sagittarian is telling you that you're resisting, that you don't want to know, you don't want to hear about it. It doesn't have to be a Sagittarian, but it can be somebody who's kind of a guardian angel for you, who's protecting you or who's helping you. And by not listening to them, I feel like you're prolonging this situation. Actions and advice for you. Emperor, gonna have to take some bold action. Be your own father. King of Cups. 8 of Swords. You're gonna have to end that story. Yep, definitely. 10 of Swords. We got that back here too. Got 8 of Swords, 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands. You're gonna have to end some kind of story that's been burdening you, that has handicapped you. You're gonna need to see the world differently. What is the wisdom you have learned from this experience? What is the wisdom you have learned? You're gonna need to incorporate that wisdom. Next 30 days. Star, Aquarius, Ace of Swords, Fool, 5 of Wands, Page of Pentacles. There you are again. The courage, you're getting stronger because it's appearing that you're cutting yourself free of a situation. If you're stepping into this role of Aquarius, you're getting off scot-free, and you might be fighting that. You might not want to walk away from the situation. Or you're seeing someone else walk away from a situation scot-free while you are dealing with this 10 of Wands, okay? And your job is to see the situation differently and not care about what happens to this other person or this other, if someone's walking away scot-free. You really need to focus on your own life, okay? Focus on your own life and your own goals. When Uranus moves back into Gemini, Gemini is about new friends, new relationships, new learning, or coming from this new learning. It's very nice. Gemini sextiles very nicely with Leo. And it's like it will activate for you this new group of friends, this new group of, it does feel new to me because Uranus is about innovation. You're innovating yourself. And right now, Taurus, the career is the thing that's going to give you stability. Messages to you from Spirit. Oh yeah, there's the Hermit again. Might need to do this on your own. Ace of Wands, the 6 of Wands, the 9 of Pentacles, High Priestess, and the Queen of Pentacles. You're going to win. The new ideas are going to flow in. You're going to win because you're having some courage here to walk away from an old story that it's not that it was stupid. It's just that it was not true. Whatever your father taught you about, like your mother needed him to be a legitimate person, that's an incorrect story. That's what needs to be upended here, because this is very single energy, this 9 of Pentacles, this High Priestess. You got to trust yourself. And then the Queen of Pentacles coming into some success here. Ace of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles coming into a level of success. 2 of Wands, the 6 of Pentacles. You might need help to get there. The World, the 3 of Cups from your friends, okay? And the 9 of Wands. Only because you're incorporating this new story, this new belief system. Next year, when you present yourself, there needs to be a new story, because the old one has crumbled. The old one is the tower. And you got to heal that. You can't just take it with you. You can't just drag that baggage with you. You're going to have to heal it. All right, Leo, that is for you. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.